Hello, hello, hello! A massive welcome to everyone stepping into the Fluency Lab today. This is the place where we don't just memorize vocabulary, we dissect the English language to help you navigate the complexities of the modern world. I'm Leo, and I have to confess I am currently struggling to figure out my 10-year plan when I can barely decide what sandwich to order for lunch.
That is a very human problem, Leo. One step at a time. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. It is a pleasure to have you back in the lab. Today, we are stepping away from casual conversation and leveling up into the boardroom. We are dissecting the language of strategy.
This feels incredibly timely. Whether you're leading a massive corporation, managing a small team, or just trying to organize your own career, the words you use to describe your plan actually shape the plan itself. We are going to look at the tension between two massive concepts, the long-term vision and the immediate action.
It is a crucial distinction. In sophisticated English, and specifically in business contexts, being able to articulate the big picture while simultaneously driving action in the here and now is what separates a manager from a leader. We are going to break down the etymology, the psychology, and the history behind the phrases that make you sound like a master strategist.
Let's start with that word itself, strategy. It gets thrown around so much in office meetings that it almost loses its meaning. What's our lunch strategy? What's our coffee strategy? But it has a much heavier, more aggressive history, doesn't it?
It certainly does. If you dig into the etymological roots, the word comes from the ancient Greek strategos, which literally means military commander or general. It combines stratos, meaning multitude or army, and agein, meaning to lead.
So when a CEO talks about their quarterly strategy, they are linguistically cosplaying as an ancient Greek general leading an army into battle.
In a sense, yes. For centuries, specifically until the late 18th century, strategy was purely a military term. It was about high-level planning to defeat an enemy. It wasn't until the Industrial Revolution and the rise of complex corporations that we saw this military language migrate into the boardroom. The implication is that business is a battlefield, and you need a high-level plan to survive.
That sets the stakes pretty high. If strategy is the war plan, then we need a destination. This brings us to a phrase I hear constantly in tech circles and startups, the North Star. What is the story there?
The North Star is a fascinating metaphor because it bridges ancient navigation and modern Silicon Valley metrics. Historically, of course, this refers to Polaris. Before GPS or compasses, sailors relied on Polaris because it is virtually fixed in the sky while other stars circle around it. It is the constant.
It's the one thing that doesn't change when the waves are crashing and the wind is blowing.
Precisely. In a business context, the term North Star metric was popularized by growth hackers like Sean Ellis. The idea is that a company should have one single metric that best predicts its long-term success. It is not just about making money today, it's about that fixed point of value.
Give me a concrete example. How does a company translate a star in the sky into a spreadsheet number?
Take Spotify, for instance. You might think their goal is just revenue, but revenue is a trailing indicator. It tells you what happened in the past. Spotify's North Star might be time spent listening. If users are listening for hours, they're getting value. They will likely renew their subscription, and they will tell their friends. That is the fixed point. If you focus on that, the revenue follows.
I like that distinction. It acts as a filter. If an employee has a cool idea but it doesn't increase time spent listening, then it doesn't align with the North Star and you don't do it.
Exactly. You often hear leaders ask, does this align with our North Star? It is a way of cutting through the noise. Another term you will hear in this big picture bucket is sustainable growth. This connects back to that biological or ecological idea, growing at a pace that you can maintain without exhausting your resources.
But here is the problem, Emma. We can stare at the North Star all night, but if the ship has a hole in it, we are going to sink before we get there. A vision is just a hallucination if you don't actually do the work. This is where we shift to the short term.
This is the crucial pivot point in our conversation. We move from the abstract to the concrete. In the office, you will hear this referred to as actionable items, or my personal favorite, low-hanging fruit.
I have to stop you there. Low-hanging fruit is one of those phrases that people roll their eyes at. It sounds lazy. It sounds like you are taking the easy way out. Is there any actual strategic value in picking the easy fruit?
It is easy to be cynical about it, but there is profound psychological validity to the concept. The phrase gained massive popularity in the corporate world in the early 1990s, particularly associated with General Electric's workout programs. The logic isn't about laziness, it's about momentum.
Momentum in what sense?
Think about the neurochemistry of motivation. When you complete a task, your brain releases dopamine. It's a reward signal. If you start a 10-year project and don't see a result for 5 years, your motivation starves. You burn out. Low-hanging fruit refers to tasks that are high impact but low effort. By solving them quickly, what we call a quick win, you create a dopamine loop that fuels you for the harder tasks.
So if I fix a broken link on my website today, or I finally clean up that messy spreadsheet, that is a quick win. It proves to my brain that I am capable of changing my environment.
Spot on. You might say in a meeting, let's focus on the low-hanging fruit first to gain some momentum. It signals to the team that we are going to make progress today, not just dream about next year.
However, I imagine there is a trap there. If you only pick the low apples, you never learn how to climb the tree.
That is the nuance. A company that only pursues low-hanging fruit will eventually stagnate. You eventually pick the tree clean. You have to use the energy from the quick wins to build a ladder to reach the high-hanging fruit, the expensive, risky innovations. It's a balance.
So we have the North Star guiding us, and we are picking the low-hanging fruit to keep us fed along the journey. But how do we connect the two? This is where the roadmap comes in.
The roadmap is exactly what it sounds like. It is the strategic document that outlines the specific steps, or milestones, needed to reach the destination. And Leo, we have touched on milestones before, haven't we?
We have. It comes from the literal stone markers on Roman roads that told travelers how far they had gone. It's like a checkpoint in a video game.
That is a perfect analogy. In a business context, hitting a milestone is a cause for celebration. You might say, we've hit our first major milestone ahead of schedule. It provides proof that your daily actions, picking that fruit, are actually moving you toward the North Star.
Now let's introduce some chaos, because in the real world, maps are wrong. Roads get washed out, storms happen. What happens when the strategy isn't working? There is a specific word that every startup founder in a hoodie seems to use.
The pivot.
The pivot. It sounds elegant, like a basketball player turning on one foot, but usually it means something went terribly wrong, doesn't it?
It often stems from a crisis, yes. The term was popularized by Eric Ries in his book The Lean Startup. A true pivot isn't just giving up or changing your mind randomly. It is a fundamental change in strategy without a change in vision. You keep one foot planted, your vision, your values, and you shift the other foot to a new direction.
Do you have a favorite historical example of a massive pivot?
There are so many, but the story of YouTube is iconic. It didn't start as a video hosting site for everything. In 2005, the founders launched it as a video-based dating site. The slogan was "Tune in, hook up."
I had no idea. That sounds like a disaster.
It was. Nobody uploaded dating videos, but the founders noticed that people were trying to share other kinds of videos, funny clips, home movies, and the technology for that was terrible at the time. So they pivoted. They abandoned the dating aspect, the strategy, but kept the technology, the vision of easy video sharing. And now it defines the internet.
That is the perfect usage. So you would say, we realized the market was shifting, so we decided to pivot our focus toward a new user base. It sounds proactive. It sounds much more professional than saying, we panicked because no one liked our dating app.
Exactly. Language frames reality. To pivot implies agility and intelligence. To give up implies failure. Another idiom you will hear in these moments of failure is back to the drawing board.
I use that one all the time, usually regarding my fitness plans or my attempts to cook dinner.
It comes from the world of engineering and architecture. If the blueprint, the drawing, was flawed, you had to scrap it and go back to the literal board to draw a new one. It acknowledges that the current strategy failed completely, and a fresh start is needed.
We also hear to play the long game. This feels like it connects back to the North Star.
It does. To play the long game means to make decisions that might be painful or expensive right now, but will pay off in the future.
Amazon is the classic case study here. For years, they made almost no profit because they reinvested every single dollar into building warehouses and logistics. Wall Street hated it, but Jeff Bezos was playing the long game. He was sacrificing immediate fruit for the entire orchard.
That requires incredible discipline, and I think that is the theme of all this vocabulary. Whether it is North Star, roadmap, or pivot, these words are all about imposing order on chaos. They are tools to help us navigate uncertainty.
Well said. The words we choose illuminate the path.
So let's do a quick recap of our strategy session today.
We covered the big picture and the North Star, your ultimate fixed point of guidance. We discussed low-hanging fruit, those immediate, accessible tasks that build momentum through quick wins. We looked at the roadmap and milestones as the tools to connect today with tomorrow. And finally, the pivot, the strategic shift we make when we learn that our current path is blocked.
And we can't let our listeners leave without a little homework. We want you to apply this to your own English learning journey.
Right. I want you to identify your North Star. Why are you really learning English? Is it for a specific job? Is it to feel confident traveling? That is your fixed point. Then identify one piece of low-hanging fruit. What is one small, easy action you can take tomorrow morning? Maybe learning 5 new words or listening to one podcast episode that will give you that quick win.
I love that. Tell us in the comments or just write it down for yourself. Are you a long game strategist or do you live for the quick wins?
There is no wrong answer as long as you keep moving.
Well, Emma, I think our strategic session for today has reached its final milestone.
And a successful one, I hope. Thank you for hanging out with us in the Fluency Lab today. It is always a pleasure to help you build your future in English.
Keep planning, keep acting, and most importantly, keep flowing.
Stay smooth, stay fluent.
Catch you on the flip side.